Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rivet City Limited's Rivetview. I'm your host, Tritus. In this series, we interview individuals or groups in the nerdy world, covering a wide range of topics and/or discussing a specific event. In today's episode, I'll be speaking with our friend Cody, who recently attended Dreamhack in Austin, Texas. Cody and I have been friends for many years, done a lot of gaming together, including many nights of purging heresy in Warhammer 40k Dawn of War, among many other great games. Cody has been in the IT industry for many years, kicking ass and taking names in the field and climbing up the ranks within his company. Now living in Omaha, this hardy former Minnesotan spends his time outside of IT, biking, hiking, gaming, and attending amazing conventions like Dreamhack. Without further ado, enter Cody. What's up, man?
Hey, dude, how's it going?
Oh, marvelous. Another day in Minnesota paradise. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Just another day in Omaha paradise. So.
Sweet. And you'll be moving soon.
Yeah, back to good old northern North Dakota, I guess.
Stimulating. Did you miss the snow?
Really, I did. I'll be honest. It's too warm down here all the time.
Well, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, just the humidity, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about us northern boys is we get as much as we piss and moan about the cold, we're also very used to it, and then those warmer temperatures can really be very interesting for us.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Which can go one way or another, right? Like I've got family members who lived in Arizona forever. Like even I went to like more tropical climates and loved it. But then you'll have some other people who just can't handle can't handle either the dry heat or this, that, or the other. Or when it's like 110 in Austin or something like that.
Oh yeah, exactly. And really, it's just a matter about what you're used to. I'm sure. I'm still used to the cold, even 2 years later. So.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. You spend 20 some odd years in a cold temperature environment. You're not your body isn't just going to click over. But so we are going to chat a little bit about Dreamhack tonight. I want to jump right in and let's get right deep into it. First question: what was your greatest experience of Dreamhack?
Well, to be honest, besides the gaming itself, my favorite experience was watching the two Brazilian teams battle it out in the finals of the final day of the tournament on Sunday. It was absolutely ridiculous to see the level of play those guys brought to the table. Really, I can't describe it other than to say, watch their streams. Luminosity ended up winning. I hadn't necessarily watched a whole lot of them previously, but it was a Brazilian final in a North American tournament. I don't know if you knew this, but the Dreamhack hadn't been to the States before. Austin was really the first time. And the North American teams were hoping at least to get to the finals. I knew it was going to be a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
And I think everyone else did too. But
yeah, they're trying to have some home field advantage, and it doesn't really work like that in eSports.
Oh, no. Yeah. It was... You could see the gap in the play, definitely.
Really?
They put up a good show, obviously, but it was... it's like a new team going to the Olympics, for example,
for
the first time, They give the best shot, but...
Yeah, either they're going to do amazing because they had some innovative way to do it nobody else saw before, or they're going to, show up and do the best they can, but... the experience kind of trumps that, right?
Yeah, it's a whole nother level of play, it seemed like. It was just absolutely ridiculous to see the no-scope shots they would do. They'd be running away, and the kill would pop like 2 seconds later. Just ridiculous.
And what were they playing?
Counter-Strike Go.
Nice.
Global Offensive, I should say.
Yeah.
That was the game of choice to watch the whole tournament, but they had a lot of other really competitive games there too. Blizzard had a really good showing in all of their games as well. Like, there was a Hearthstone tournament, there was Heroes of the Storm tournament, there was StarCraft 2, obviously, for the RTS crowd, and even some board games and Magic tournament upstairs. Honestly, didn't even get enough time to check that out, but...
That's awesome.
Yeah, they had almost everything of a competitive nature at this conference.
That's really cool. I really like And I want to dig into that a little bit. But I'm gonna come back to that a little bit later. Put a pin in that. What was the? So you said Luminosity was one of the teams. Do you remember the name of the other one?
Luminosity was the winner. They ended up playing. Let me see. Tempo Storm. Yeah, they were the other Brazilian team, and they put up a good fight. Luminosity was the favorite really the whole time. Apparently, I don't follow it too closely before watching it directly, but that was a pretty good game. In the end, they normally play 3 rounds overall, choose maps, and switch sides each time. Those are the overall rounds, and I'm probably using the wrong terminology too, if you can't tell, but
that's fine.
Oh, no worries.
I think we can figure it out.
Yeah, and in each of the 3 rounds, they play 16. Well, the first to 16 wins the overall round. So
okay,
they can actually play quite a few games on the same map for quite a long time if both teams are kind of neck and neck trading rounds and so forth. And I didn't realize this before, but the economy of weapons between individual micro rounds is really important. That can make or break a game. Apparently.
Is it because, now I haven't, pardon my ignorance of that, because I haven't played much CSGO. I played a lot of, old school CS, but is it like, are you saying that they only get so much money for equipment in the next round per what they did in the previous round? So because I recall matches in old school Counter-Strike, you only got so much money, and then if you played multiple rounds, you only get so much money in the next round, depending on how your team did or how you did. So that way you'd only get so much equipment, and therefore you'd have if you had a game of like best 3 to 5, eventually if the winners keep winning and losers keep losing, you'll start to see kind of an outclass of equipment.
Oh yeah, exactly that, really. That is the spirit of what they were doing there entirely. And I'm sure that's really the spirit of CSGO entirely these days.
Right.
You can see, you could see the gap start to widen as one team got equipment and one did not. But it could actually shift pretty drastically if, the opposing team suddenly mopped up the rest of the other team or I think one of the biggest parts of that was, apparently if you won by, setting the bomb or basically and then went and killed an opposing player that was still alive after the bomb went off, that would wipe out their currency entirely.
Really?
So I don't think it was for the entire team necessarily, but for that person, and then it would kind of wipe them out pretty good.
Right, and that hurts. And that's the thing is that, equipment does make a big difference, but it doesn't make the player, right? And
oh yeah.
And you don't it's not terrible equipment that you start out with, right? You get the other decent weapons, but yeah, once you start getting up there, it does give you a big advantage if you know how to use it. But then again, how many games have we ever seen or played where we had either the equipment, resource, or whatever advantage, and then all of a sudden just by one bad play it completely flops. That's good. Oh yeah, and exactly that. They all start with pistols initially, and that's almost the most fun to watch, really, because they're all in the same playing field. There's no they have to play a lot differently than they do later in the games when they have different weapons and different setups and so forth too. So really, they're all it's kind of a mad rush. They all rush in there, try to get as many kills as possible. It ends really quickly sometimes, and you're on to the next round. There was one time specifically Cloud9 was playing Tempo, and I think there were 3 rounds in a row that lasted like less than a minute. All of a sudden, Cloud9 was just getting mopped up left and right. Dang.
And, obviously at that point the gear was a big factor, I'm sure, but anyway, some of the rounds went for a long time. Some of the rounds were really extremely tactical about, the opposing team had effectively won the round, but they're trying to wait for the last person to, they're trying to wait for the bomb to go off in order to kill the last person after the bomb to go off in order to wipe out his money stash. So the other player knows this, so he's literally trying to get himself killed. That was one of the most hilarious little situations ever.
That's
he's
awesome.
Just, running around like, guys, I'm over here. They don't want to shoot him, but, they will, because if they're not careful, they could lose the match.
Right.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and you runs around running him, hoping one of them just got an itchy trigger finger sort of thing, right?
Oh, yeah, and they ended up killing him well before, the timer went off and stuff, but...
Right, that's funny. That's what I love too about, and that's what makes esports for me exciting too. Is not only have I played the games, but I also I love to watch the strategy shift as the game goes on, because you can't you really can't have the same strategy going in as you do. Like there's no way a strategy survives the game. Like you have to call audibles. You have to insert different tactics, because these games can shift so easily.
Oh yeah, exactly. And you could see half the time they have coaches just literally coaching them throughout between matches, saying this or that. The commentators were on point, pointing out various things that, this player had messed up here, and I'm not necessarily a Counter-Strike Go expert by any means, so I'm like, oh, well, that actually makes sense now. So,
right.
I see why that was bad now.
Right.
Anyway, but even my friends that play CSGO constantly were just getting their minds blown on the amount of stuff they were... Well, just the ridiculous tricks they were seeing there. So.
Oh yeah, all that expert level stuff that you were exposed to. That's cool. That's one reason I love watching esports too. Is just up in my game, right?
Oh yeah, it definitely makes you feel that competitive itch, and you want to make yourself better after seeing somebody play at that level. You're like, I wonder if I could do that.
Right. I recall. Oh God, it was. I don't know, 6 years ago, me and Loki and a couple of people we entered a Halo tournament for I think Newegg was hosting it. And so we practiced and we drilled and we did a bunch of stuff and we entered and we got destroyed.
Oh no!
It was bad. We were so outclassed, and the reason is because the first people we played were, if they weren't pro level then, they're definitely probably pro level now. Esports wasn't obviously wasn't big. That was starting then, but it wasn't big. But you could tell the complete difference in team strategy, and just the tactics and things they were doing. We just got walked all over because they were so well organized and because they had plays and they had tactics. They completely not only they owned us, but they owned the map. Right? They knew the map. They knew the spawn points. They knew everything.
Oh yeah, and that's key. Map choosing was a huge part of what they were doing before each. There's some. Well, apparently some teams are better on some maps than others. I'm sure that's the case all the time, but even the announcers were saying, obviously, Lumosity would prefer this map, but they're sacrificing, the vote against this map, which is actually the other team's favorite. So, anyway.
Right.
And knowing the map was so important, I'm sure those guys can see it when they close their eyes. So.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure these guys are dreaming of spawning in these maps, and that's what really and that's another thing that sets esports apart from other sports. Is in most other sports, and at least definitely in the pro level sports, it's all the same fields, right? Yeah, sure, you get stuck in other places or in other environments. It's snowing in one place, raining in another, balmy and sunny and 90 degrees in another place, but the field is the same, right? The rules don't change. It's still, a football field is still 100 yards and then 2 end zones. A baseball diamond is still a baseball diamond, right? A soccer field is still a soccer field. Whereas in esports, the maps change, and they're completely different, and each one has its own set of tips and tricks and places to go, and little secrets and little caveats.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then they patch the game and it screws up your entire strategy. Right. And
right. And then you go to the next season, you're playing Smite, and the Joust map is completely different now. It's still the same concept, but everything's different.
Oh yeah, exactly. And well, on the way down, apparently they had patched CSGO right before this tournament and so forth. So they actually played on the previous version on the server they were on for CSGO at the tournament itself.
Interesting.
no one would have had enough time to learn the new stuff at all.
No.
Though that might have been hilarious. I don't know. So.
Yeah, I wonder how more interesting that would have made things. Like, it would have been kind of cool to maybe do do everything on the old stuff, but then like have a round or like have a subset of the tournament where it was on the new map, just to like put everybody in that same same dust bowl, I guess.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. I'm sure plenty of people were playing the new map, internally in the LAN itself and so forth. There were probably about 1,000 to 1,500 people landing constantly the entire time when we were there.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone had brought their own computers. There were actually very few laptops, which surprised me.
That is really surprising. But I guess then again, most core gamers don't really use laptops to game, I mean...
Exactly, yeah. And the amount of wagons and trolleys being looked around was very high. And I kicked myself later. Like, if you go to this conference and try to bring your giant case, bring something to wheel it around with. I'm going to say that right now.
Oh yeah, so. Hauling around a convention center and packing it up. Yeah, I can see that being a pain. Okay, so I want to. We kind of covered this question, but I want to just ask it kind of directly because I feel like there'd be a few more things you can glean out of it. What is Dreamhack exactly?
Well. A competitive gaming convention is basically what I would say it is.
Okay.
Yeah, specifically, everything there was geared towards, dueling games. There were Tekken tournaments. There was actually a Smash tournament upstairs, too, that it was almost swept under the rug in how secret it was.
Dang, that's awesome, though.
And, yeah, it was definitely a competitive-oriented eSports type thing, I guess.
Mm.
And... bring your own computer was one of the more unique things about it. Like, you can go to a normal convention and so forth. You can walk around, but usually, you'd only walk around a convention for so long before you want to go do something else or just relax for a little while. Mm-hmm. Well, you can. You just go sit down at your computer, say, play some Overwatch for like another 2 hours, and then go back out again. So.
and that is so cool. I love the idea of that.
Oh yeah, and it was specifically Overwatch dropped their beta during that weekend, which was absolutely excellent. Everyone was playing that. That was totally the hit of the conference.
Oh, so. Sure. Yeah, and that's I've been kind of moving around just trying to figure out which mobile I'm going to be falling around to playing, if it's going to be Paragon or Paladins or Overwatch or Battleborn or what, I guess, of course I don't have to choose one, but I could just play all four, but still. I mean,
well, yeah, you want to get good at one, so you got to kind of pick one. I get you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the hard thing. Honestly, I think I'm going to choose Overwatch. It reminds me almost most of TF2, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
And, well, but with special weapons and abilities, and the amount of detail in those maps is great. It's just those little touches, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta play. I mean, I do love Blizz games ultimately, and that's something I gotta dig more into.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Yeah, we should get a game going sometime. So Dreamhack. Basically, if I can blend this together into something I can easily digest like a delicious smoothie, is basically one massive LAN party.
Yeah, really, and anytime you want to play a game, you could go talk to somebody and jump on a LAN. There were actually competitive tournaments that were, semi-pro going on all the time. You had to kind of jump through a lot of hoops to register, according to my buddies that did that. But
really?
But hey, it was, not a lot of hoops. It was just paperwork, But anyway.
Right.
And that's not something you want to do at a LAN party necessarily.
No.
It's paperwork.
Yeah, you just want to sit down and game. Like what's all this illegal crap, right? But.
Oh yeah, and money's on the line for those as well. Way less money than the eSports ESL stuff, but
sure.
But yeah, one of my buddies that we drove down with, we drove from Omaha in a van to Austin.
Nice.
He ended up getting third place with his team in the CSGO semi-pro tournament. So
nice.
That was pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
Oh, yeah. And, Well, let's see. I've lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Let me ask this. So, how did you hear about it? Because from what I know about DreamHack, this is its first, like as we talked about, it's its first year in Austin. It's first year in North America. So they've been kind of bubbling around Asia and Europe and basically everywhere else on the planet except here. So this is its first time here. So how'd you hear about? I didn't even know about it. Like that's shows my ignorance, right? But tell me about that.
Oh yeah, so really, my buddies from Fargo, way back from college, were planning and looking at going to the European one for quite a while, but that's kind of a trip, so
right.
It never really worked out for a few years. So finally, they're coming to North America. It's finally happening. We're going. Let's go. And yeah, they basically. I didn't even know what to expect from the entire situation, to be perfectly honest. I'm not a competitive gamer necessarily. Played way too much Fallout 4 recently, single player, so.
As half of the world has. Most gamers have basically blocked off like weeks worth of their time. Like, I will not play that game simply because I know that nothing will happen in the rest of my life if I even touch that game, if I even look at it.
Yeah, I hear you. I got it in November when it came out, and I think I peeled myself away. The day the Super Bowl was happening, I finally got done with all of the endings.
You realized that there was an outside like, oh, what day is it? Oh, it's Super Bowl. The Super Bowl. Wow, there wasn't even snow on the ground in Minnesota when I last looked.
Oh yeah, and I turned on the TV. It happened to be on, and it's like, wow, what year is it?
Right, October. What? No, and that's but yeah, that was the thing when Fallout 4 came out. Like half of America just poof, one massive switch.
I'm sure I'm not alone. So
right now, and that's what the cool thing is about to go into a con like that, right? Like you never know what to expect. You don't know what's gonna be. You're not, like when I first went to an anime convention, I'm not a cosplayer. I don't really know what's happening here, but I go there and I'm just blown away, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. And well, for the first part, it's literally a chore. We're carrying our computers around. I'm wondering, what have I gotten myself into a little bit?
Right.
Well, hopefully this conference goes pretty well because, it's the first time in the States. The website we actually registered our tickets at was in a European language. I'm not sure what it was for most of the time. And, they ended up getting their shit together in every way, obviously, and it worked out great. But we're waiting in line, trying to get inside. As soon as they open the doors and you're carrying your computer in, it's like, okay, no, this is going to be perfect.
Right. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they started in Sweden. So I'm guessing that language might have been Swedish.
I assume so. .se. So
yeah,
the website.
There you go. So then, and there it is. Which with our ancestry, we can figure that out.
Yeah, I am Swedish, but I don't speak a lick of it. So
yeah, neither do I. Other than a few curse words that I heard grandparents utter. No, but so okay. Speaking of when you first walked in, so your first experience, you get there, you pull up in the car, you're hauling around thousands of dollars worth of your own gear, right? You walk in the door. What's the first thing that you feel? What's the first thing you just experience? Like, what's the first thought in your head?
This place is huge. It didn't look like that on the outside, to be perfectly honest. It was a full-blown convention center. The Austin Convention Center, if you haven't been there, is a pretty nice place in a really nice area in town. 6th Street is up the street, which is also an awesome place in Austin. But besides that,
that's cool.
Well, looking around, there are vendors there, music's blasting, the lights are on. They started throwing merch at us right away. It was ridiculous. It's just I'm carrying my computer case that's way too large now in retrospect, under my arm with my monitor, my other hand, my backpack with all my cords in it, and okay, our seat's over here. Let's find that. Get set up. Oh, thank God I brought a 30-foot LAN cable and and a power cord. Like, the tables were pretty, just a standard thing, but they had comfortable chairs. It was just fine. Settled down and like, okay, we're here to game, but we got to go see this freaking conference.
Right.
They already had pros starting to play the CS tournament. They didn't even wait for everyone to get in there at all, which they couldn't because they went well after they had started tearing down the con at the end of the night.
Really?
On Sunday, yeah. We ended up leaving after 9 p.m., driving back.
Nice.
And, oh yeah, that was a trip. I'll tell you that. It was just nonstop. Wake up, play computer games, run around looking for vendor merch and everything else. There were giveaways like crazy. One of my buddies won a computer case. It was pretty decent.
That's
Roswell won.
Nice.
NVIDIA was a big sponsor of the event, so they were everywhere, and they ended up giving away GTX 770s, just handing them out. People lined up and just handed them out, gave them away.
Had them all like cupcakes.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like, hey guys, get in that giant line you saw over there when you get here. We were a little bit late in the morning because, we had a couple brews that night.
Yeah,
previous, but oh yeah. It was like, I wish it wasn't late. But oh well.
That's alright. Food for thought next year, right?
Oh, now that the 1080's out, I could save for that anyway. So.
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez. I could spend 20 minutes talking about that, but okay. So you mentioned before that there, a lot. So there's a lot of CS:GO, and there's a lot of eSports going on. There's a lot of vendors. There's a lot of like random little tournaments here and there, between semi-pro and just people, just people sitting in a room playing Smash, right? What are some of the other like events going on there?
Well, the whole time vendors are just literally asking people to come up, play on the big screens that they had set up in their own kiosk areas and things that weren't small by any means. I say kiosk and like the wrong word. So
you say kiosk and assume like small little thing, and it's just massive like 30-foot booth with with just gadgets everywhere.
Oh yeah, they'd almost set up their own stages, ready to accept anyone who wanted to play against anyone else who showed up, and whoever won got some merch of some sort. Razer was there giving away keyboards and mice, and I think they gave away a laptop too. And anyway,
that's
just
awesome.
just the encouragement to play other people was so damn high. I can't even tell you.
That's so cool. I mean, I suppose the entire environment's basically cultivated towards gaming competition, right?
Oh yeah, that's just it. And I didn't even see anybody playing a single player game when I was there.
Oh really? Well, I guess that makes sense. So, like, you don't go to a convention like that and just chill and play Fallout 4, right? And like, unless you're showing all your buddies your awesome suits.
Oh yeah, and speaking of that, there were cosplayers around. I saw somebody in a vault suit, and there were multiple people that had some pretty good setups going on, but it wasn't oriented that way, so there weren't very many cosplayers, I should say. But.
Okay. Yeah, that was one thing I was going to ask, because there's a lot of gaming conventions out there that though aren't geared towards it, will still attract a lot of cosplayers. So you'd see like in Smite World Championship, for example, there was a bunch of Smite cosplayers there, and this, that, and the other. So you wonder if that would be a thing. Did you happen to see any cool cosplays or anything that you any favorite costumes?
Oh yeah, there was a few. There was a couple League cosplayers, which was kind of interesting, since I don't know if anyone was playing League there necessarily, but it was totally geared toward Blizzard games. It was a little bit crazy. There were some Blizzard costumes, specifically around the Blizzard booth, but that wasn't cosplay so much as them promoting themselves, I'm pretty sure. So.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't, any chance that Blizzard gets to do a little promotion via cosplay or anything else is they're going to jump at that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw an Ashe, a Katarina, let's see, a couple other league champs.
Nice.
Definitely this, I don't know, Lady Garen, that was kind of interesting.
Lady Garen. I'm not placing that one.
Oh, well, Garen from League of Legends, cosplayed by a lady.
Oh, okay. My brain didn't put that together for a second.
No worries.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. But honestly, they were few and far between, really. The guy in the vault suit. Oh, yeah, there was a Teemo dude there, too. Saw him running around for a while.
That's awesome. I was at Anime Detour this a few weeks ago. There was a dude that was in a full-on T40 battle armor.
Nice.
I was
wow.
Dude, you're my fucking hero, man.
Oh, just the logistics to transport that and then try to wear it the whole time, man.
Right. Oh, but it would look so damn cool. And then there was an NCR Ranger. There was a gal dressed as one. She did such a good job with that. That was cool. All right, so how about you told me that there were speaking of events? You told me there were concerts and stuff there too.
Oh well, more than anything, that was outside of the convention. Inside the convention, we had DJ Truck, the Alienware truck, that was just blasting techno music as loud as possible in the later hours of the evening, which is actually pretty awesome. Yeah, that thing was completely just lacquered up and had a topper on the back. They pulled out speakers that were just racked in there, the entire length of the back of the truck, and started going to town. It was great.
That's so cool. So they're just hanging out right outside the convention center?
Oh no, they were inside with the truck.
Oh,
that was one
inside.
of the.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that was one of their. Well, the Alienware booth, effectively.
Sure. Yeah, the mobile Alienware booth. That's cool.
Yeah, one of my friends said DJ F-150. So.
That's cool. So okay, so any other crazy events like that?
Well, more than anything, one of the biggest events that happened. Well, and you could tell a little bit that the con folk were green, the people running the show a little bit. Mm-hmm. They did a really good job and recovered every time. I got to give them props for that, don't get me wrong. But you could tell, more people showed up at this thing or that thing than they ever anticipated multiple times.
Right.
Oh, yeah, just absurd amounts of people. Well, there was oh, darn, I forget the company now, and I should probably plug them here just to give them credit for it, but I'll find out later. There was a company from, it seemed like the Austin area, building a PC custom made in front of everyone in one of their booths.
Cool.
After the first day, they had it put together, had showed it off to, everyone walking around that whole time, just, PC lust. It was terrible. Water-cooled, custom-made case and, cream of the crop hardware. And then they announced that they were going to give it away.
What?
Yeah, you can imagine the amount of people that had registered for something like that, especially after having it teased out for so long.
Yeah, so people got to watch it put together, and oh man, that's so cool.
Oh yeah, it was great, and it looked great. The machine was an absolute beast, water cooled and the whole 9 yards.
That's yeah. I mean, let me know who these guys are. I'll put them in the show notes. That's cool.
Oh yeah, I'll find out here. And anyway, we ended up. Well, they had kind of a lot less large setup than the big names at the convention and so forth, but
sure.
They were doing something way cooler than all the rest of them too. So
and that's the way to do it, right? I mean.
Oh yeah,
that sounds clever.
And they had this little microphone and speaker on a stand that they were trying to talk to, and the crowd around them was already just milling about and so large that they called in the Dreamhack con folks and said, let's go out here, and went outside into this giant hallway around the convention center room proper. And it was completely filled with everyone basically from the convention. If I could have gone back inside, I would have probably seen it was empty or something. But and then they proceeded to give as much stuff away as they could, extra and everything else besides. It was awesome. When they finally gave away the computer, the roar was just crazy, and everyone dispersed quietly. It was great. Really, I gotta say, the crowd there was awesome. Everyone that showed up was really pretty polite, not, in anyone's face, not stealing shit. I didn't even hear about anything getting stolen. We left our stuff there every night, all of our machines, everything. So
yeah, like that's I love that, and I know that about con scenes. I know there'd be a little bit of healthy amount of paranoia for me if I brought all my gear down to a con like that, but I'm sure I would probably warm up to it after a while, because realistically, you think about it, who's gonna, like, at a con like that, who's gonna steal each other's stuff, right? It's just not the atmosphere.
Oh yeah, and they had it roped off, don't get me wrong, from anyone that wasn't a bring your own PC person, couldn't go into that area and so forth. So
that's good.
I'm sure that helped a lot, but at least you had to be committed with your own equipment.
Right.
So, it worked out pretty good. I was pretty leery about it. I'm like a paranoid person by default too. So
yeah, well, yeah. So, considering our fields of employment.
Exactly. But hey, it worked out pretty good, and I didn't get any viruses that I know of, but
yeah, that's a good story. And that's one thing I was thinking about too, is that imagine, all those people together and all that gear. Imagine, the security that goes into that. Imagine, the network load and all. I would love to pick the brain of the admins who were running around there that weekend.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I wanted to too, just itch that IT side of my brain, but I was on vacation, so I kind of forced myself not to do that.
Yeah.
But I hear you. The internet was amazingly fast. I'm sure we had some sort of ridiculous fiber connection trunked in somehow. So
God, I hope so.
Oh yeah, that would have been the only thing that worked, I'm sure. So
right, yeah. Imagine the whole thing being brought down because they didn't do that, right?
Oh yeah, if they would have, skimped on anything internet-wise, it would have been a freaking disaster. But
right, that's nuts, man. Yeah, that would be a curiosity of mine. If I went next year, because I plan to. By the way, that's something that I want. I would love just to track down one. Just to in the 5 minutes that they're breathing, taking a quick coffee breather, just to pick their brain on that. It'd be curious, but
yeah.
So I saw that you got some pretty cool swag. What'd you all get?
Well, the coveted items were mainly from Blizzard this time around. They had their merch store there. If you've been to the Blizzard store, you've probably seen a lot of the stuff, to be honest. But,
yeah.
But yeah, they sold out of the Overwatch hats and the Overwatch backpacks, and we're going like crazy. Those were kind of the big items of the con, to the extent that Razer had bought some and were giving them away by the Sunday night. So
right.
They were just as coveted as everything else, even though you could probably, have shipped one to your house from your computer at the con at that time, but
or order on Amazon or something and have it beat you back to your house.
Probably. And not. Well, that was the nicest thing about the van. For example, like a lot of our friends won stuff, or like the computer case that buddy of ours who won it had to fly back to Florida, so he's like, "Can you take this case and ship it to me or something?" Because
the whole flying with a new case, not a good idea.
Yeah, it wouldn't really work out unless he checked it and paid a boatload of money to ship it, and then it wouldn't have been worth it, right? So
no, not at all. And that's the tough thing, is that I would imagine if we went, we'd drive, but that's something to keep in mind too. Like, whenever you're gonna go to a convention, always leave room in your bag and leave room in your vehicle for stuff you're gonna buy, because you will buy stuff. And even if you don't buy stuff, you'll accumulate it somehow.
Oh yeah, it just sticks to you. And I won a couple shirts and this and that, and it adds up after a while. And the other stuff we ended up buying, like what I ended up walking away with that I liked the most was that little Protoss pylon charger.
That's sweet. I love that.
Yeah, it's just effectively a little lamp, but it looks awesome, so I like it a lot.
If it wasn't like morbidly annoying, I would like have like a little battery 5% notification on my phone or something that said something like you must construct additional pylons, and then like plug it in. It'd probably drive me nuts after a while, but it'd be really cool to do just for a novelty.
Oh yeah, and I'll use it for my charging station from now on. After a while in the IT field, you collect too many things that need charging. So
yep, you are absolutely right. I just plugged my headset in because I realized I hadn't charged it. So yeah, I just got this wireless gaming headset that has been probably the greatest purchase, like under $50 purchase I've had in a while.
Oh, dude, I'm in the market. You'll have to tell me about that later.
Yeah, I will shamelessly plug this product. It is the Afterglow Prismatic. I'll tell you about it later, but it's been great. I bought it used at a local gaming store, Level Up Games of St. Paul. Shamelessly plugging them.
Great.
And I got some credit. And I picked it up, and I've been super happy with it.
Awesome.
So, all right. So, when you go to a convention like that, typically there's some pretty interesting folks walking around there. Did you meet anybody cool? Did you meet anybody like anybody famous in the industry? Who's there?
Well, honestly, dude, from my perspective, I hadn't been involved enough to even know who was a celebrity if I would have run into them, in the e-gaming world. And I told my friends that, like, hey, if we just met somebody, could you at least tell me later? That'd be great.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I know that's absolutely terrible, but that's literally my experience there. I haven't watched enough streams necessarily or to know the names of this or that. So
yeah, no, I hear it. I'm just beginning to scratch the surface. Like I couldn't pick one out of a crowd, right? I mean, there's a few that I kind of know their faces, but that's strictly in Smite, and I don't even know beyond that. I mean, I know some of the teams now. I know some of the team names, but yeah, I mean, I'm exactly in that boat. Like if I walked up to them, we had a beer, I'd have no idea unless they told me.
Oh yeah. And yeah, we ran into some people when we were crawling around 6th Street, like late at night. That Saturday night was absolutely ridiculous, by the way. There was a random street fair that had happened earlier in the day, which closed down the entire street, which meant more people than ever showed up there, I imagine.
That's cool.
Or else Austin is just that crazy all the time. But it was almost Mardi Gras, so.
That's crazy. Yeah. So I was going to ask this later, but since you bring it up, I'm curious now. Tell me about that. Like, what was the deal? Like,
well, 6th Street Austin, it's kind of legendary. I hadn't heard about it too much, but the name of it escapes me now. That's minus 100 nerd points at this rate.
Put in the show notes later.
The concert that's in Austin every single year, Burning Man.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, is out of Austin all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, music is huge in Austin.
Yep.
You could tell as soon as you're walking down 6th Street, we turned a corner, and it was like multiple concerts going on in the distance all at once, all of a sudden, as soon as you got on the street. And they're all from random bars that are just tiny little, those older buildings that have been hollowed out, made into bars, and they're all freaking awesome.
Yep.
There's usually like only one of those in a given town most of the time. And if you're lucky, you get like 3 in a little spot or something in a downtown area. But this was the entire street.
That's crazy.
They were all like open to the street. People were standing out there yelling drink specials at you about how our little bar that kind of looks, to be perfectly honest, the same as the one next to it has this drink special. And oh yeah, and a lot of the every single one of them almost had a patio up above. That's where everyone was. It was a beautiful night. You go up top and just look at the sky and hang out.
God, that's awesome. I've never been to Austin. I've been through Texas. I've been through Dallas and Dallas Fort Worth area, and I've been through Houston. But I've never been like that's. And I keep hearing so many amazing things about Austin. It sounds like such a great place for young bucks like us and entrepreneurs and startups and all that kind of stuff, and and music and just amazing culture. Think of it, but like it's true. It's like it's just got this crazy reputation for it.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I mean, live music capital of the world apparently, and from what I could tell, that was true. So
that's
and
crazy.
I just walked around for a few hours, trying to get some air. So
right, yeah, and that was you just trying to chill out, take a few minutes and relax. And meanwhile, there's this crazy party happening in the middle of downtown Austin.
Oh yeah, it's like you get caught up in the energy, and pretty soon it's like, well, thank God our friend was in the CS tournament, and it could drive us home.
Right.
So,
that's awesome. All right. Tell me about. I mean, so you sit down, you're playing games. Like, what's it like to be in a room with, potentially hundreds, if not thousands, of people, just sitting down and gaming? Like, what are you thinking when you sit down? Like, I know when I jump online, I'm potentially playing with thousands of people, but you don't know that, right? And I've been to some bigger LANs, couple hundred people, where it's been, it's crazy. But I can't imagine a room of thousands of people just gaming.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Actually, it's like the internet is there with you all of a sudden. Is literally how it felt.
That's crazy.
People were yelling like Vape Nation the entire weekend. It was ridiculous.
That's awesome.
You'll have to link that video later in the chat, but anyway.
Yeah.
That was apparently big with the CSGO crowd. And I don't know, you stand up and look around, you probably are playing Hearthstone or Heroes of the Storm or Overwatch, and plugging Blizzard just too much here right now, but
wow.
You're playing whatever game, and it could very well be like most of the people in the room with you, which is just surreal. It's not distant like it feels, when you're playing on your own computer at home in the dark or whatever. So,
and there's really definitely, I'd imagine there's got to be that sense of community, right? I mean,
oh yeah, everybody was really good to get along with. We're like setting up computers, tearing down computers here and there. Some people did bring their stuff home, and it's like, you're not. I mean, just the level of politeness and overall camaraderie you felt almost immediately with random people that are there with you. It's like, oh, dude, that machine looks awesome. What do you have in it? And you start shooting shit about hardware and stuff like that, and just get to talking about this game or that game. And this game looks really cool, and or I'm in this beta, and you should check this out. And
that's so cool, and I love that.
Oh yeah, just I don't know how to put it. Like normally you're walking around and and we talked about this maybe a little bit before, but the ability to just talk to someone on the same, and they already know what you're actually talking about. You don't have to explain in super detail what this game is in order to actually talk about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes a big difference when you're actually having a conversation and trying to enjoy that conversation. So. Right,
yeah, that's exactly it. It's like we were talking a little bit about before we started recording about that level of when we grew up. Both of us grew up in small towns, and we were definitely the minority when it comes to general nerdery, right? I mean, we were only of a small set of subset of gamers. We were the only ones that weren't playing the gamers that were out there, or the kids that play games. Yeah, there are kids that play games, but they're the ones that are playing old school FPSs and Madden or something like that, and that's it. And then and the rest of us were in these other crazy obscure games. Really, there's that. You could go back and forth with that dichotomy of a true gamer all you want, but either way, but there wasn't many of us that existed who were truly into that niche and were really, obsessing about hardware and seeing what was new and what was crazy, and regaling each other over our builds.
Just living on Battle.net back in the day and trying to get your ranking up, and after you could talk about that with a few people around town, but most of them you had to explain why the ranking mattered at all in order to have that conversation.
Exactly, and then you'd have to have another conversation to even start having that conversation, and then, which is fine. I mean, because people just weren't into it, but there just weren't that many of us where we grew up, and then moving to bigger towns, especially as we all grew up and became bigger humans, and started attending conventions like this. It's like you walk in and you think there's more of us. Like holy jumping shit! There's just more. Like this is a thing. Like I'm home.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Yeah, that's kind of it. It's like I found my people. I can talk to them, and I can be on the level with somebody that I just met immediately because of our shared experience.
Right.
That was really like how it was. Well, going to the tournaments and talking about this or that. I had a lot to learn about CSGO, I'll be honest. I was on the outside looking in, but, people don't mind explaining it to you, and, you have an interest in gaming in general that bridges a lot of boundaries that way.
Yeah, and especially in a sense of, you have those pro players in playing, and they, for the first time, they feel like they can sit down and have that conversation with somebody who's going to understand what they're saying to them. Right.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's really, in a nutshell, kind of how it felt to attend and be there with all those other people, having that shared experience. It was kind of surreal knowing, you feel, well, when you have your close group of friends and so forth, you watch a lot of Twitch streams. Now it's a lot more obvious that there's a lot more gamers around, and there probably are more gamers than there were in the past now, to be honest. And
absolutely.
That's great. But
yeah, that whole thing's changed, right? I mean, it wasn't just like, there's just these, like these were the true gamers and these were like just like people have dabbled. Like that whole idea of who is and who is not a true gamer has completely evolved.
Well, it's almost gone, really.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, people play games for fun. It's just a, level they want to get into it. You have pro players and you have, semi-pro players, and I'm not even at a semi-pro player level, let's be honest. So.
Right. Yeah. And that's when I think of myself as a gamer, like I consider myself a gamer. Like I don't game as much as I used to. Certainly not nearly to the level I would even like to anymore. I mean, I'm by no means a pro player, but I still consider myself that. And but then you're almost like thinking about an old definition where it's really not true anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of it. It's the game has changed.
Right. The game of games has changed, right?
Oh, yeah.
I see what you did there. I love that. Okay, so if you so now that you've been there, now you know what's going on, and to some degree, I'm sure it's gonna be a little bit different next year because now they got their feet wet, or at least as far as on the American side goes, they've got their feet wet. And they'll probably change some things around to make some stuff a little more efficient. But now that you've been there, what would you do different? Like, what would you do? What are you gonna do next year as compared to last year? Like you mentioned that you'd obviously bring some kind of dolly or something, But like what are some of the lessons that you learned going there, and like that you'd do to make your experience better, easier, cooler next year?
Oh yeah, well, we drove like probably 16 hours in one direction in order to get there, right? So maybe
right.
Flying. But then I couldn't bring my PC, so it's like, well, what do I do that way? And there's I couldn't game on a laptop all weekend, I'll be honest. So.
I remember. I think I said that to you when we first started talking about this. But then now I think about, like, do I really want to bring a laptop?
Oh yeah, and you look over at the dudes on either side of you, and they've got their amazing rigs that they lugged in, and you're just like,
Hey guys, I got my laptop. Yeah, you're cool.
And bringing the laptop's obviously fine. It's just
yeah, it's just like compared to these amazing rigs, right? It's like, oh well, I guess here's some pictures of my amazing rig at home, but
yeah, you get the chance kind of to show off your builds. There's plenty of people doing that. They had their giant machines, and all the lights, on, going crazy, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of that too. Just decked out machines there for show as much as anything else, kind of. But.
which is fun, right? I mean, you spend all that time building, and you finally feel like you get a chance to show it to a bunch of people who are actually going to appreciate it, right? It's not just your family members visiting your apartment or your house or whatever and seeing this like crazy glowing contraption in your corner and like, oh, what's that do?
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's nice, honey.
Yeah, it's pats you on the head and like, oh, that's cool. Meanwhile, you bring it to a convention, you like have 10 people have their jaws drop just by walking by. It's like there's something to that.
Oh, exactly.
So yeah,
Well, to answer your question though, I keep diverging all the time.
We get on fun tangents. I'll take it.
Well, yeah, really, like I said. A trolley. Oh my goodness, that would have been so much better. I think my arm is still bruised from lugging that around underneath it. So, oh well. You live and learn. A lot of people had little wagons and stuff. That was a good idea. Like
that's good, yeah.
Like a beach wagon sort of thing.
All right.
It's like I would never have thought of buying one of those ever in my life until that moment.
Right.
So
you don't know you need it until you need it, I guess.
Oh yeah, and there were people that had straps. Backpack straps effectively for their computer cases so they could put it right on their back and then just lug it around, and that was brilliant.
That is cool.
But I think my solution for next year, I think I would like to try to do this anyway, and we'll see how it goes, but somebody nearby us who was one of the crew folks there actually had lugged in what looked like just a nondescript plastic latch case of some sort. It was a lot bigger than a briefcase, for example, like a cargo sort of case about the size of a smaller computer case. And he opened it up, and inside was his computer, and all perfectly. It wasn't just thrown in there, right? It was a perfectly set up case that was way nicer than my purchase case from Newegg or whatever, and custom made. He'd had it all set up. He unlatched some side holes and everything else, put cords in, and he was gaming. He had his monitor beside it, and that was his case. And I'm sure he could have flown with that thing. So
that's crazy. That is such a cool idea. I love that.
Oh yeah, if I can, get the chance to build it, I'm sure I will. But we'll see.
Right. Yeah, you never know. I mean, that's a cool idea. Okay. What would you, just thinking about the whole convention itself, what do you think, just pick a couple of things here, what would you think is your one big high and your one, one big low, and the low doesn't have to be negative, just like I wish there was more of this or something like that.
Oh yeah, well, the big high was probably, just the people there all getting excited about watching, various tournaments and so forth that were going on, getting, jacked about that play you just saw, like, wow, my head's gonna explode. That's awesome, dude. Like, looking at that. And those were some of the best times, and it kept happening, like, throughout the entire weekend. Like, did you see that? Holy shit. And everything else. It just kept happening, and that was the best part, really, is like that consistency almost. But
right. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, you could just wander into an area, see something amazing happen, and wander into the next area, and it happens again. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, and I don't know. The worst part was probably, let's be honest, waiting in line to go inside. But then we're just shooting shit with people in line, hanging out, comparing computers a little bit, getting going. At first, everyone was like a little bit apprehensive, not knowing what to expect, especially since this was like the first year in the States. Mm-hmm. At times, it was a little bit, like I mentioned, like the staff didn't expect the number of people they had, but they always recovered. I got to point that out. They always did. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. And then finding food when there's an entire convention of people right next to you trying to do the same thing is a pain in the ass. So
yeah, that's one thing I've learned over the years of attending conventions is bring snacks.
Oh well, they didn't let you bring your own snacks in
really?
Oh yeah, they said no, thank you, and please pay. the exorbitant prices for what we're charging for it, but for the record. So
dang, that's interesting. So you can't even like chill at your rig and just like have a bag of chips or something?
Well, you can, as long as you bought it from the kiosk nearby. So
I see what they did there. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm sure that was partially like making sure that the first conference in North America was going to make money or something. To some extent.
I wonder if that's going to get filtered out over there over time.
Well, and I bet they're probably going to go to a bigger venue next year if they can. The amount of people they had there was ridiculous, and there were actually 2 floors too. The main floor downstairs in the main convention center, and up on the second floor in a smaller area where they had that Hearthstone, Magic, and board game stuff tucked away. So,
what do you think they'll try to keep it in Austin?
Oh, I'm sure it'll be in Austin again because the city itself is awesome. I wonder if they might use more of the convention center than they did. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how large it opens up into. So.
Oh, okay. So it was only a small section of it. I didn't know. I don't know what it looks like, so I don't know how much you could cordon off or whatever.
Oh yeah, I can send you a map here at some point too to look at it. They used a big portion of it. Don't get me wrong. It was just, well, it looked like there was at least a divider there that could have been a wall instead further back. So.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I've been to cons where they'll cordon off like either event rooms or this, that, or the other, just for so the hotel can have, or hotel or convention center or whatever can have still a little bit of space for this, that, or the other. So I've seen that happen before. It makes a little bit of sense. But you're right. I mean, if they, especially with a con of that size, I bet it's tough. When you're it's tough to know, like, especially your first year of from what's basically been a non-North American convention. How do you know, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that was largely the reason more than anything. They didn't really spare any expense as far as people and the lighting and so forth was absolutely amazing, and the stages were well set up, and everything was really well staffed, and the internet was awesome. And really, there was enough room 90% of the time. It was just when we had those mass events like, well, we're giving away a $6,000 computer. Everyone in that place knows the value of that and is there. So
exactly.
It's like, how do you plan for that? So.
Yeah, in some ways you really can't, right? I mean, no matter what you do, it's gonna be just a pack.
Oh yeah, and even when it was just a pack, everyone is orderly as heck. The overall crowd was just really chill. I was actually pretty surprised by, usually there's, well, I don't know. How do I put this? The crowd mentality, people can, get in the way and do this and that. But
yeah,
people went out of their way to be, pretty well kind, honestly. So
and that's what I really love about this just poking outside of gaming for a sec, but like anime conventions and comic conventions, things of that nature. For the most part, man, it's like I've had nothing but good experiences with the people. I mean, yeah, every once in a while people will be a drunk shit show, but I mean, other than that, I mean, for the most part, just generally, people are great, and that's something I feel like our community really has, compared to, I don't know, I guess I haven't been to too many other conventions outside of the gaming nerdy community, but just hearing stories, it's something it's a little more unique, that when large crowds of us gather, we're all still pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong, security was everywhere, but
sure.
Yeah, they didn't. Well, you can't rely on that nicety necessarily, but
no, not by any means.
No, but it was noticeable. I guess I'll say that. So.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
And yeah, that was really the best part about it. Really, is people being comrades when they had no idea who each other were, and you can walk up to anybody and start talking them up. So
and that's what I love about it, man. I can't stress that. I should know. Stress maybe the wrong word, but I can't talk about that enough is how much of that that camaraderie is and that level of community is there at these kind of things. Because I mean, you can, you could walk up to anybody, you could talk about what game you're playing this week, what's your build look like in Smite, for example, or for this god or whatever, right? And then everybody knows what you're talking about, and it's just like there's just that level of brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever you want to call it there.
Yeah, it's just the mutual understanding of people that have the same interests, man. So that's what it is.
And it's so well cultivated.
Oh, yeah, that's a good word for it.
What you think about I don't know. Have you ever been to Texas? What you think about it?
Well, to be perfectly honest, we didn't get around too much, other than like we were right nearby the con and almost shot in like a comet and then shot right back out again.
Right.
But while we were walking around the con and getting food was like usually why we were outside. So we had plans to go to this barbecue place or that to during the time, and it's like, no, we don't have time. We got to get back. We got to play. We got to do this. And,
right.
This is happening. This drawing is going on. I want to try to win this thing, or these guys are playing each other, and it's going to be great. And, that sort of thing was happening all the time. So it's like, where's food? Okay.
Right.
We found Gus's fried chicken. It was absolutely delicious. It was, you walk in, James Brown is playing.
Nice.
And it's just an old school diner sort of place in the downtown heart of Austin. Southern as it gets, I guess. And the chicken was delicious.
That sounds good, man.
Oh, yeah. There were plenty of places like that we just, popped into, like, hey, what's this about? Let's see what we can get for food, and it ended up being amazing. I think Austin is probably most awesome because you could have done just about anything and had a good time. So
Really?
Oh, yeah. We were walking around and looking around. That street fair was pretty sweet. It was really just a pretty generic street fair, I'll be honest. But
sure.
But hey, it was packed. It was crazy. There's a lot of people there and having a good time. Live music like crazy everywhere. Random bar, live music right there.
I love that. It reminds me of I don't know. Have you ever been to LaCrosse, Wisconsin?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I mean, and I didn't know this until I started working for a company that is out of or at least has an office in LaCrosse or on Alaska. And LaCrosse has a massive Octoberfest gathering every year, right? But the thing about LaCrosse is LaCrosse has this, like downtown LaCrosse is all bars. And okay, now think about Fargo, right? Both you and I have lived there, and it is like all the whole downtown is just bars, right? Imagine that on serious steroids. Like, I'm not kidding you. I guess the number is that there are over 400 bars in LaCrosse.
Oh, wow.
It's insane. I mean, it's just streets and streets and streets and streets of bars. And so then me and Red went there for Octoberfest this last year, and it was insane. Like, just the amount of people there. I guess Keanu Reeves was there, like running around there at some point. I don't know. That popped up on Instagram. Somebody like, oh hey, check this out, he's here. But and we went bar hopping, just hanging. Like we went to the fairgrounds. They had like a big like the Octoberfest like fair, festival sort of deal, which was really cool. And I guess the whole place is really famous, but it's because it has a lot of that German heritage and a lot of that it's all those bars and where it is on the river and all. It's just a fantastic location. But that's what that reminds me of, because I mean you're walking down the street and all you hear is music and all the chaos and shenanigans. Everybody's just having a good time. They're walking around outside with drinks. The cops are just kind of like hanging out, just make sure everything's cool. No riots are happening or anything. No cars are getting flipped or anything. But other than that, everybody's just really cool and treats each other with respect. But at the same time, having a good time, having a good party, and we found various bars like you had your country bars, but then him and I found the one rock bar, right? So we chilled in there for probably like an hour and a half, just listening to like old school early 90s rock, just like the stuff we remember from high school. It was a crazy blast from the past. So that's the only thing I can probably like equate that to. But I imagine with Austin, it had to be a lot of like live original or even cover bands, but like a lot of people just kind of like chilling, got their doors open, in the spring summer heat, and just letting their music bellow out. And I love that. I love the idea of that.
Yeah, that's what struck me really is all the bars that were lining up 6th Street were wide open to the street. Just about there was still a door frame there, but the window was so huge next to it, you could have probably just skipped right in, and and the band's like right there in that window, like hanging out, playing through it, so they can get as much noise out and attract people as possible. And
right,
and there was plenty of bluesy sort of classic slower rock stuff down there. Some of that was going on, but it was a lot of alternative, and we ended up at a bar called the Dirty Dog, which was absolutely awesome. It wasn't dirty, but it was it was a rocker bar. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
And we ended up watching a Tool cover band. This dude is up there. The lead singer is dressed in drag with pure white face, and he's up there singing his guts out, and it was freaking sweet. So
that's cool.
it was an experience, to say the least. So.
That'd be a heck of a show, man. That sounds awesome.
Oh yeah, they did a really good job. So
that's cool.
I don't even listen to Tool that much, but hey, I might now. So.
Yeah, exactly. That works out. That's cool, man. Would you okay, so what to give people kind of an idea, obviously we don't have to get into the nitty gritty of this, but like what are ticket prices like? What's it cost to go to this? Obviously everybody's gonna be different because we're coming from different places, but
oh yeah, well yeah, really there's plenty of visitor passes and stuff that are pretty cheap. You can get a 3-day visitor pass or a 1-day visitor pass, and that's under $50 for all that stuff. A 1-day pass is like $15, I believe. So even if you just wanted to show up and it happens to be in your city because you're from Austin or something, you totally could. So yeah, and that's the nice part. And really during the day, the Twitch televised stuff was pretty well wide open to anybody walking in off the street to go watch it in the stands and stuff. So that was pretty awesome. If you wanted to bring your own PC, like we ended up doing, and this includes laptop sized and everything, bring your own PCs, all the same thing. It was $80, just straight up. That wasn't even that bad. So that secures you a spot, 24/7 access to the facility. And everything with your badge there. They had some poor security folk there 24/7 for the whole weekend. So,
dang.
And really, you wouldn't even necessarily have to leave your computer if you didn't want to. But obviously, it says right there on their website, be courteous of your neighbors and so forth. So.
Right. Yeah, and you're not going to haul your rig out and then haul it back in again. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to do.
Yeah, we were honestly debating being paranoid and all that.
Right.
What should we do with our PCs, and should we take it out of there every night? That'll be a pain in the ass. And it's like, nah, whatever happens, I guess. And no, it worked out great. They had good security, and closing it down to just the visitors, or just the non-visitors, I should say, was probably what made it pretty low key actually after midnight in the evening. Everyone's sitting there gaming away. So.
Right. Did you get like a reserved spot when you? How does that work?
Yeah, so you bring your own computer. You can actually, and that's the important part, right? So the seating fills up insanely fast. We actually ordered our tickets like in January 17th, and it opened on the 16th, and there was plenty of spots already filled up.
Yeah.
And when we were there early enough, we picked next to each other and everything else. But if you aren't like lining up which seats to pick with your friends on the phone while you're doing it, you may not very well end up with each other at all. So keep that in mind. And really, that's where we ended up going to the Swedish website effectively and reserving the seats. Here, it was like, here's the map layout where all the seats are. You can choose, and we picked away and ended up behind the Blizzard booth on the edge of one of the smaller landing areas, which was a perfect spot. Really, we could easily get in and out of there compared to some other spots. So it worked out really good, and. Oh, yeah, my friends were all over that, like, we've got to go. Dude, we've got to go. So, like, oh, really? Is it going to fill up that bad? I mean, did people know about this? I hadn't heard about it. And, like, yeah, dude, it's going to fill up so bad. So they were all over me to get it done, and we did. So that probably made the most difference.
That helps. That's a tough thing with conventions. Like they're like, is it gonna fill up? Oh, maybe I could do this later. Like, no, just do it.
Oh yeah, we couldn't wait, and really, seats were like sprinkled after like just 2 days, and that was in January, and we just had the convention here last weekend, so
that's nuts.
Yeah. So plan on getting your seats, especially the seats with your friends, well in advance and exactly where you want to be, and look at the map and make sure, like, well, I don't want to be sitting right next to the bathroom, for example, because of reasons, and
yeah, I can imagine.
I don't know. It's just plan way in advance. Planning is important. And it worked out really well for us, though. We stumbled into more stuff than I planned for, obviously, and
sure.
that was plenty fun too. So,
and that's going to happen, right? I mean, there's especially your first time going to something like that, you don't know what you're going to so plan as much as you can, but also kind of keep it loose.
Oh yeah, and I'm a planner at heart, so my buddies are not, so that's where it ended up working out in a pretty even keel, I think.
Yeah. So. good balance, and it's good to have a good group dynamic right there, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. So yeah, and you could actually pay more for a Founders Pass and VIP access, and they were actually in a special LAN area that was basically the same but more cornered off, and that was almost like the semi-pro level, basically, that those folks wanted to buy into more, so they could definitely get good seats and more access to various events and stuff. VIP access allowed them to go set up earlier than the standard plebeian computer bringers. So, yeah, it was just a matter of. I don't actually know all of the benefits from it offhand because I wasn't one myself, but one of our buddies was, and he was the one playing CS about the whole time, in a semi-pro fashion. He ended up meeting a whole bunch of dudes he plans to continue to play with now going forward, and on his team that he ended up playing on, and outside of that too, he was pretty happy with the whole situation. So
that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good situation for him to be doing, is being kind of that networking and meeting the players, maybe finding people who can mentor with and learn from and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think I wanted to touch on this a little bit. Like, I think that's probably what America was lacking by not having this conference here.
Yeah.
Almost. Is like, they could probably do better if there was more competitive stuff happening, obviously, and then they can practice more, get against more Brazilians or, whoever, and
right.
Go have fun. And I think that would make a difference, too, in the level of play eventually, because America's had to travel to Europe or further every time in order to even participate half the time. So,
yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it'll make a huge difference.
Oh yeah, and yeah, if you're like a aspiring professional gamer, this would probably be the conference you want to go to in order to network, meet people, try to make a name for yourself. It's basically what my buddy did. So
yeah, and that's so important too. And that's one at some point or another. I want to get in touch with some. I follow a few pro players and pro coaches on Twitter, but I mean, I want sort of kind of get in touch with people and kind of ask that question, right? Like how does a person kind of follow that passion, right? How do they follow that dream other than just play video games every night?
Well, yeah, exactly, and I think half of it is well, or more than half of it is like just meeting other people, getting involved, getting in the community of your game. Right. And having a con like this to do that is like, key almost. So and now we'll have the chance. So
absolutely, and that's something that's so important, is that if you want to if you want to succeed in this crosses all industries, succeed, get in an industry, get involved with the people in that industry, right? Regardless if it's gaming or anything else.
Oh yeah, exactly, and make a name for yourself any way you can, and pretty soon you'll be surprised at how many people are looking for you. So
right. Even if you're Leeroy Jenkins.
Yeah, if you want to be that famous, I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to be that, if you want to have that kind of name for yourself, which it worked out kind of cool for him in the end.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's not bad. It's just
No, at the time, it was like a massive dick move, right?
Yeah, now he's a legend. So.
Yeah, no, he's a legend. Yeah, we just talked about that in our weekly Rivet Flash. It was the 11th anniversary of that happening, of that video getting released.
Oh yeah, exactly. And really, I was playing WoW like during the 10th anniversary and stuff. They had Molten Core there and things like that fired up again for the 10th anniversary.
That's nuts.
And so 40-man raid in a modern era in Molten Core, it was absolutely nuts. And, well, it wasn't actually very hard because, scaling and all that. But,
right.
And but they had increased the difficulty, just probably not as much to make it as hard as the original Molten Core whatsoever. But besides that, they had remade Blackwing Lair, I believe. Back in oh man, see, it's been too long already, and I've put WoW by now. But they remade a dungeon for Worlds of Draenor that had Leeroy Jenkins in it. He was an escort mission.
What?
You could totally lead him out of that place, and if you did, you could get him as a companion at your garrison. So
what?
Great. And they did that totally for the 10th anniversary last year. It was awesome.
That's cool. That's kind of a way of giving back to the community, right? And kind of owning that. That's cool.
Yeah, and those little things are why I like Blizzard. Let's be honest. So.
Yeah, absolutely. They always find those little ways to kind of to talk about the people who are playing their games, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Well, this might be a really silly question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Would you go again?
Definitely. We were already planning for it. January will be here before we know it of 2017, and then they'll announce it again. From what we heard, they were already looking at doing Dreamhack Austin again, just the rumor mill around the place when we were leaving. Mm-hmm. And it looked like they were looking at expanding it to other cities potentially as well, because this one apparently made buco cash. So
I would imagine.
Oh, yeah. So ideally, they would be like in Chicago or Minneapolis, and then that'd be amazing. So
yeah, that would be. I wonder what it would take, because the thing about like conventions like that, whether depending on where they start, whether it's LA, New York, down south or whatever, it kind of takes them a while for them to creep up our direction. But you wonder if they would start in Austin. I mean, there's I wonder if they would make that jump, if they would maybe go to LA, or would they go to New York, or would they go would they come here? Like where would the jump come, right?
Yeah, and I really honestly have no idea, other than the rumor mill that was going around down there, that they would definitely do Austin again, and we're looking at expanding potentially, but yeah, rumor mill, of course, so.
Right, yeah,
Who knows, really. And I'm sure, why would they avoid the ginormous cities where there's probably way more population than, Minneapolis or something.
Yeah, well, and to start, right, I mean, eventually they'd creep their way up here, but I mean, you'd think they'd hit probably like Denver or, some of the other bigger places that are a little bit closer to that. But then again, it doesn't really matter considering they started in Sweden, right? And it's only been like 10 some odd years.
Oh yeah, I guess Dreamhack was originally started back in '93 or something along those lines. See, real Dreamhackers will listen to me talking about their con and just cringe, I'm sure. But anyway, at the end of the day, they've been doing this for a long time. It's just always been, pretty much native to Europe and expanding from there. But they're an international conference. I just think they were just kind of waiting on esports in the States to pick up. That's my interpretation of the situation. But
yeah, I think you're right. I think I got 10 years from there was a date on their website. No, it was 2007. They got a diploma honor from somebody in in Sweden for being a big part of the community. That's where I got. You're right. It was like it was 93, 94 they started.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. And yeah, I honestly, not being a big esports person or, well, being a competitive gamer per se outside of like a lot of MMOs specifically, which is not the same thing at all. Yeah. I hadn't heard about Dreamhack whatsoever other than my buddy going, yeah, we got to get to Stockholm to get to that sometime. And it's like, well, I'm sure it's great over there, but...
Yeah. Do I really want to go all the way to Stockholm for this? Like, you know... Which
sometimes wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, it could be fun, right? I mean, but it certainly helps if it being here, certainly. And and just looking at briefly at their now that I'm looking at one of their pages. Yeah, they started in '94 with an attendance of 40 people.
Yeah, they were just like literally a regular old LAN party that's turned into this amazing thing. So,
which is awesome, right?
Well, 40 people is still a lot of people for a LAN party. Don't get me wrong.
It is. It is. Like it's a pretty decent sized LAN party. I mean, I've been to quite a few LAN parties myself, and 40 that's getting up there already.
Oh yeah, and before that, I'm sure it was something along the lines of some buddies playing like, well, CS or something in their spare time. So
right, exactly. Just a few buddies sitting and hanging out in their basement, and then just kind of like grew from there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the amazing thing about Dreamhack too. It's like, well, that feeling of like it being a LAN party was still somehow there, and there's like thousands of people everywhere. So
right, and that's.
How do you do that?
Right, exactly. Like, how do you create that environment? Like, that's what really, I think, impresses me the most about the whole situation is that they found a way to recreate that living room LAN party in a massive convention center.
Exactly, and that's what really is awesome about it at the end of the day. It's mind-boggling.
And that's what's like getting me like really excited because I'm going. This is just gonna happen.
Oh yeah, you better now. So yeah, really at the beginning of January, well, I should say the middle of January, like the 15th or something. Get ready, right. It'll happen.
Yes, and make sure to e-poke me and make sure that we're all right. Like, do you would it be smart for like one person to buy tickets and then because that way like you can be all seated together or?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that would probably be the easiest way, other than coordinating like on a call or something. So
right.
I'll be honest, I'm literally like on my phone at work, and my buddy's like, "Hey, you want to come to Dreamhack?" And I'm like, "What's Dreamhack?" And he's like, "You nerd." And it's just like, well, let's go. Okay, fine. It sounds like fun. Austin isn't too far away. It's further away than I thought at that time now, but it'll work out. And I'm buying tickets on my phone, like walking away over to the coffee room and just, pinging him on Facebook chat. Like,
right.
Okay, what seat now? What did you get? This one? Okay. All right, that's open. All right. Where's Tim at? Oh, over here. Okay, great. And that was probably the most inefficient way to do it, but.
Well, but you did it early, so it ended up working out.
Oh yeah, and only because they were on top of the timing of it for sure. So
right, I'm guessing that your buddies are probably kind of like sitting on that itchy trigger finger for that.
Oh yeah, one of them was the one texting me was literally working later in the day, so he had nothing to do but wait for it. So
he probably just scheduled his day like around that. Which I mean, kudos to him. Like I know, some conventions I've went to where it's especially where it sells out in seconds or even or minutes or whatever. Like yeah, that's like at noon when it opens, I am buying tickets. Like or this website crashes. I don't know. One of those two things is happening.
Oh yeah, and they just had like Eventbrite and it worked fine, so there was no crashing or anything to speak of. And I don't know, maybe there was later after it got bigger, and maybe there will be like year 2 now that it's out. The jig is up. So
right. It's made a name for itself. Now next year it's gonna be double the attendance.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna have to plan for resizing slightly, at least to some extent, just to account for everyone. So
just take over half of downtown Austin. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
And we halfway did already. So the one that just happened, you can walk around and go around like this dude has this gamer shirt on or whatever. It was pretty obvious when you see your partners in crime walking around. And
yeah, you can kind of pick them out of the crowd, but then at the same time now they've become the crowd.
Oh yeah, it was kind of hilarious. But.
That's awesome. Well, is there any other piece of this, any crazy story that you didn't mention before, or anything that you want to call out specifically?
Well, more than anything, I'd say go if you're even thinking about anything like that with your friends. This was more than a good decision, and I had no idea what I was even going to be walking into. So I got to say that for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, other than that, like Austin itself, we talked about, but I didn't know what to expect from Austin itself either, and it's just an awesome town, really. There's a lot going on there. It's pretty busy. It's not it wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, very temperate for that time of year in the beginning of May, and just an excellent time. So
nice. Yeah, stop thinking about going and just go.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did for this. It's like, I haven't done something crazy in a while. Let's do this. Just do it.
Just do it. I hear a company has a slogan for that.
A company that won't be named here now. No. Who cares who they are?
Exactly. All right. Well, this has been a blast, man. I want to be respectful of your time. We've been chit chatting for a while here, but I want to get you on your way to your amazing evening. Where can people? And you can throw this out there if you want. It's, whichever way you want to answer this, but. Where can people find you online or play games with you if you want, like on Battle.net or whatever?
Well, I'm not really a personality per se, but I don't know. Hellcuqo, that's me. So.
and could you spell that for our for everybody?
HELLQUCO.
All right, well, we'll throw that out there. I mean, you are, and as far as I've ever played games with you, you use that name pretty cross platform, much like I use Tritus. You see Tritus online and playing a game, it's probably me.
Oh yeah, and from what I understand, nobody else really wants to steal my name, so
which is good, right? I mean, you got a unique name, so there it is.
Oh, it's weird enough anyway, so
right, yeah, it stands out. All right, man. Well, this has been fun. We should do stuff like this more often.
Oh yeah, dude. At least play some more games here. Dawn of War 3 is coming out. That'll be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I do not want to talk about my
unhealthy obsession with Warhammer?
Yeah. Or do I? But we'd have to have a whole other podcast for that.
Oh, probably.
Probably. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Well, this has been fun. I will catch you later.
Yeah, you take it easy, man.
You as well.